Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're calling in from, whatever time it is. Thank you for being here. We are so excited for this second part of our ISC West recap webinar. We got two incredibly intelligent TAMs here to present. We've got Nate and Jason. I'll give them a little bit more of an introduction as we get closer to starting the PowerPoint. We want to do take care of a couple housekeeping items. So first and foremost, one thing we always like to remind you guys of, this webinar is going to be recorded. We'll record it and upload it to our YouTube channel. So, if you have to step away for a minute, you can come back and reference the material we were talking about or forward it on to a coworker, whatever you need to do. That will be on the Qualsys YouTube channel. You just go search Qualsys and it should be one of those first videos that pop up. Next thing, we want to help you guys kind of get familiar with this, with GoToWebinar. If this is your first time joining us, we want you to be able to understand how to use this question section. As we go along through this presentation, we want you to ask questions. We have some phenomenal TAMs in the background. We have Kevin and Neil that'll be answering questions. So, if they get inundated with questions, it may take a second to respond. And if they can't do it before the webinar is over, we'll make sure we do some follow-up on those questions. But to get you familiar with that question section, we want you to find it and let us know where you're calling in from. We've got some veterans in here that have already beat you to it. They've already started telling us where they're calling in from. So find the question section, let us know where you're calling in from. And I'm just gonna start shouting some people out because we love to see you all here. So first person to type in was Taylor from Dallas, Texas. Taylor, thanks for joining us today. We're excited you're here with us. We've got Matt from Bend, Oregon. Matt, thank you for being here. We got another Matt from Pinellas. I don't know where that is. It's good to have you here, Matt. Bob Smith from Kingston, Ontario. Thanks for being here, Bob. We got Mark from Oakdale. We got Kevin Hinks from beautiful Vancouver. Good to see you, Kevin. Thanks for being here with us. We've got Stan Norman. Stan, we always see you here. Thanks for being here, Stan. We've got some other people from Utah. Both Jason, Nate, and myself were here in Utah. Hope, Shane, you're not dealing with the flooding that some people are here in Utah, or crazy snowpack is melting. So that's kind of crazy, something we got going on. We were talking about that a little bit before. We've got Jeff from Winnipeg. We got some more. We got Lane from Salem, Utah. A lot of people calling in. Sorry, I can't shout everybody out. If I did, we'd be here for another 10 minutes. But thank you all for being here. Utilize that question section, like I said. We want this to be a place where you can come and learn and ask your questions and get those answered. If we can't get to them during the webinar, we'll get to them after. And then our next kind of housekeeping item is we will be doing some giveaway prizes. I think we have 5 sets of IQ Wi-Fi 6 and then 5 IQ4 hubs to give away. So how our process with that is, you need to attend, the whole webinar to be eligible for that, and we'll download a report afterwards. And then we put you into a random name selector, and then we reach out to you. So if you are one of those winners, watch for an email from Will Hackett. He will be reaching out today to let you know that you won, and then he'll get some information from you to get your prizes. And I think that's kind of our housekeeping items. So we want to jump into some poll questions. These poll questions are really important. They help us understand kind of how to tailor our materials, understand who our audience is. So please take some time. I know last week I went a little bit quickly through the poll questions. Somebody told me to slow down. I am kind of a fast guy. I just drank my Red Bull, so I got to slow down a little bit. So I'm going to give a little bit more time here on these poll questions. So yeah, everybody please participate. So first question we have here, is this your first time attending one of our webinars? Are you a veteran, or is this your first time here? So I'll give you guys about a minute to respond to that. It's looking like we are having some yeses. This is your first webinar, so welcome to this webinar. We're grateful that you were able to take some time out of your day and join us. Give you guys about another 20 seconds here. Okay, perfect. So we've got some new people, but we also have quite a few veterans. Great. Next poll question we've got for you guys. Are you currently installing JCI products? So are you installing the Qualsys, the DSC, any of those JCI products, you or the company you work for, or are you not currently installing them or selling them? Awesome. Looking like most people are. Perfect. Another 10 seconds and I'll close that one out. Great. Thank you guys so much. And this is our last poll question here before we dive into the material. So, and I'm kind of teasing what we're going to talk about today, but would you be interested in interested in automation devices using PowerG technology? We may be talking a little bit more about this here in the presentation. Awesome. Give everybody a couple more, a little bit longer to answer here. Alrighty, perfect. Thank you all so much for participating in those poll questions. So with that being said, we're going to turn the time over to Jason and Nate. These are two very intelligent guys. These are guys that I reach out to when I have questions on these products. So they're going to talk more about our ISC West recap. So Jason and Nate, I'll turn the time over to you guys.
Perfect.
Yeah, thanks, Bo.
Yeah, thanks. Nate, you want to kick it off? Go ahead.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we figured we'd spend just a few minutes kind of high level going over our show. It was actually a pretty successful show this year. We had a couple numbers being thrown around. You know, the number of attendees on ISC West show floor was pretty amazing, actually, just to see how many people ended up showing up this year. And it seemed like, you know, and Jason, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seemed like we were, you know, kind of just busting at the seams every second we turned around. You know, I think it was Kevin that was suggesting that on an average year, you know, this is like pre-COVID, we had roughly 30,000 attendees, you know, on ISC West. This year, it seemed like we were getting roughly 5, maybe 10,000 more guests. So a lot more people showing up with their little entourages. We appreciate, you know, you stopping by the booth, getting to know us a little bit better, some of our products a little bit better. Just really appreciate your support. Great success, and it's all thanks to you guys being a good partner. So
yeah, it was. Yeah, sorry, Nate. Very successful show. I'll just kind of pile onto what you're saying there. Our booth was incredibly busy. It was a very busy year, and you know, our booth was very busy, and there's only really one reason for that, and it's we are launching so many new products. We have so much stuff coming down the road. We have a very exciting roadmap, a lot to show, right? A lot to show. So, you know, that's I think the fact that we had to break this recap webinar into 2 parts is a testament to that, right? We've got so much cool stuff to talk about. We could do one of these every week and you know, just give you enough of an overview to understand what's coming down the road. But so we have a lot of products to talk about today, a lot of exciting things, some things that weren't on the showroom floor that were kind of up if you made it to any of our suites for those meetings. We're excited to share those with you guys as well. But I wanted to spend a few minutes and just recap real briefly what we talked about last week. So this is technically the part 2 of the ISC recap webinar. The first part again that we did last week is on YouTube. I think Bo already shared the link out for that. So if you missed that webinar and you want more information on you know what we talked about last week, that's a recorded webinar. You can go watch it anytime you want. So we want to recap those things, you know, the products that we talked about last week, and then go into some of the stuff that we didn't have time for. So a couple things that we talked about, of course, that we showed at our booth were our keypads. Of course, IQ Panel 4 is our flagship panel. This is about as good as it gets in terms of feature set and you know and stuff like that for us. Nothing really crazy new here. We do have new software coming out with some exciting new features. We talked about that in last week's webinar, so definitely go check that out if you missed it. But not a whole lot new otherwise for IQ4. We did show IQ4 Hub, which is an exciting new panel. This is basically a costed down version of IQ4. It is IQ4 minus a few features, minus the camera, minus a couple speakers. You notice we go from a fabric grill to a plastic grill, right? So we're able to pull a few things out based on your guys' feedback that you were willing to do without to bring the price down a little bit and offer a panel that is slightly more cost effective than the IQ4. Then we go kind of a step further, right? We go a step down the line even further. This was a panel that we showed at our booth as well that we got some really cool feedback on, and that's the IQ Panel NS. And if you were on last week's webinar, you know, Neil jokes that that's our super fancy marketing word for no screen, right? It is an IQ Panel 4 without a screen. We already removed the camera, we already removed some speakers, we went to a cheaper grill, right? We moved a few things out. The only thing that was really left to take out of the IQ Panel was the screen, right? And so we're excited to launch this here in the next couple months, this IQ Panel 4 no screen, as a even cheaper alternative to IQ Panel 4 if needed. This is kind of a high-level screenshot of the 3 panels. You kind of get the good, better, best option here. This comparison chart's really helpful to let you know what's in each panel, what panel supports what. This is on our website in case you want to dive into that. But again, the YouTube video that was recorded that we did last week goes into these panels with more detail. So if you missed that webinar, go check that out. Dive into these panels with more information. Of course, you can always reach out to your local sales or technical account manager as well if you want more info. Another thing that we showed at ISC that's exciting is IQ Pro. Now, IQ Pro technically soft launched late last year. I think a lot of you probably are in the loop on this for the most part, but it is officially out. Production software has been launched. Production units are on their way to distribution. So this is ready to go. If you want this panel, you've been waiting for this panel, you can put an order in for one of these today. This is our new hybrid panel, very exciting. We basically take a DSC Neo and an IQ panel and kind of mash them together, best of both worlds. We spent a lot of time talking about this on last week's webinar as well. And then we talk about the installer interface. So we get a lot of questions. How do you program IQ Pro? How about IQ Panel 4NS, right? There's no screen. How do we program that? That's using this really cool installer interface that we have. This interface mirrors basically the UI of an IQ panel, which is really cool. So if you can program an IQ panel, you can program an IQ 4, you can program an IQ 4NS. It's just an app form, right? And this is actually one of my favorite parts about this app is you can connect to the panels over Wi-Fi. So you can actually be walking around the home or the building or wherever the install is at and programming live as you're opening doors and tampering devices, right? And just doing all your programming from your phone. So we actually plan to bring this installer interface to all of our panels, not just the Pro and the IQNS. So that's exciting as well. We spent some good time talking about IQ Wi-Fi 6. This has been out for a little while, but we've getting ready to release some new firmware. This has gone through beta. We have quite a few dealers using this. This is an exciting product that gives you guys control over the internet, right? So we've talked a lot about this. We have pre-recorded webinars and workshops. If you really want to get into the weeds on this, of course, we go into detail on this and what's coming in the new firmware on last week's webinar as well. So go check that out if you want more information on Wi-Fi 6. Of course, we talked about IQ Water Valve, right? This is something that is not new. This has been out for a year or two, but it's an exciting product that we get a lot of great feedback on still. So we showed IQ Water Valve again at ISC and talk a lot about how easy this is and what a great upgrade opportunity this can be for you guys and for your technicians. So that's a brief recap of what we talked about last week. A lot of cool things, a lot of exciting things, a lot of stuff going on. So if you missed last week, definitely go check out that last week's webinar and get some more details on those products. With that being said, we're now to the part 2 section of our webinar, right? This is where we want to cover the stuff that we didn't quite get to last week. Because again, we've got a lot of stuff here to talk about. Neil and Kevin teased at this, teased at some of the new PowerG stuff that we're working on. So Nate, I'll hand it over to you to kick us off here for PowerG.
Yeah, no, thanks for that. So one thing that I would say, just kind of to reiterate what Jason just quickly reviewed is, it really matters to us that we make our products easy to install, easy to manage, easy to maintain. And I think we've been able to accomplish that. It's all about one platform, right? So when we look at some of the technologies built into this platform, this main technology that we're talking about now is PowerG. For those of you who aren't as familiar with PowerG, PowerG is a technology, it's a wireless technology. We've got a whole line of products on the security side of things that operate on PowerG technology. It's about 900 megahertz here in North America. But some of the added benefits of PowerG, you get things like two-way feedback, better encryption on sensors. So it's 128-bit encryption, military-grade encryption. With that two-way feedback, we get better battery life expectancy. And these are just a few things that kind of scratch the surface with PowerG. We've been able to do a bunch of range testing, and we're getting phenomenal ranges with PowerG. Just can't say enough when it comes to the technology as far as range, and overwhelmingly we've had a ton of feedback asking us to create automation only devices. So we hope to cover some of those updates here in the next couple of slides as well. So quick overview on PowerG. It is available on all of our panels. So now we're able to harness this technology into locks, lights. We are going to start there, and eventually we'll likely see some of this technology show up in thermostats. So we're calling this PowerG everywhere, right? So we are trying to make your customers a little bit more sticky to you as the installed dealer, as it relates to this technology. And also some of the feedback that we've gotten in the early days of Z-Wave, just some of the heartache and the challenges that Z-Wave has given us over the years, whether it's a range issue or having to add a couple of repeaters in there. With PowerG, we just kind of eliminate some of those challenges. So we're pretty excited that we're able to take this technology, embed it into a door lock, a light switch, a dimmer module, that sort of thing. So some of the products that we were able to show here on the showroom floor were we start with these door locks. So we're just starting to dive into automation devices with door locks. There are going to be 3 different colors. We're going to start with these rubber button keypad versions. If depending on how well these do, there is an option that we would likely see, later on down the road that may include like a touchscreen type keypad. But we had to start somewhere. So you're going to see this door lock come out later this year, likely this summer, and it'll come in 3 different colors. It's a beautiful door lock. Everything that you would expect a door lock capabilities to have, but with that PowerG technology built right in. And we're branding it as IQ Lock.
Yeah, well said, Nate. You guys know PowerG. We love PowerG. We know you love PowerG. Everybody raves about PowerG. So we thought, man, how cool would it be if we could use PowerG everywhere, right? We want more PowerG. Let's use more PowerG. So why not introduce PowerG into automation devices, as Nate explained? So by far, probably the star of our show at ISC was this PowerG door lock. Similar to any other Z-Wave door lock that you're used to using. This is going to allow you guys to do every door in a home without having to worry about range. In fact, when we consider this, actually we have really good pricing on this, really competitive pricing. But I've talked to a few dealers, and when you're looking at that, you kind of have to factor in service calls for Z-Waves, right? I come from the dealer world, and I know that was a constant headache for some of the companies I work for. But you also have to consider the cost of the mesh for Z-Wave and have to worry about repeaters and making sure that they can communicate back, right? Typically, the doors are installed at the end of the house, the front door, the back door, in the garage, right? Far away from the panel. So that's always been an issue where we're adding in repeaters, we're checking the mesh, signal strength, and we're doing things to try to make them communicate reliably. With the PowerG door lock, we don't have to do that anymore, right? In fact, we've done some really awesome testing on this. And at ISC, it's kind of a cool story. At ISC, we had a room there in the main hallway just before you get to the showroom floor, and we actually paired a PowerG door lock to one of our panels, walked it out into the hallway, down the hall into the casino, almost 2,000 feet away from the panel, and this lock continued to work and communicate, which is really impressive considering the RF environment, at ISC with everybody's equipment and everything on display. So we were really excited about this. When it comes to door locks now, forget about range. We got you covered. The other cool thing about this is just how much easier it is to learn into the system. You know, with the Z-Wave door lock, you have to learn it in so close to the panel. You have to allow that secure enrollment to go, right? You kind of have to pull the lock apart and get to the pair button. Some locks are different, some are in the menu anyways. This lock pairs in very easy, very quickly. You put the panel into auto learn, same place you'd go to learn in a door sensor or a motion detector. You pop the batteries in this door lock and it learns in very quickly. And you can do this at location. So I can do this in my detached garage. I have to worry about doing it, you know, 3 to 5 feet away from the panel. So installs very easily, has awesome range, definitely quicker than pairing a Z-Wave lock. Of course, we get the reverse, you know, handing. We can hand the lock to go either way. Nate mentioned we've got 3 different colors. Range on this is just incredible. Battery life up to 12 months with an average of 10 locking cycles per day is what it's rated at. We're using AA batteries. And it's ANSI grade 2, which is actually basically a way that they determine how secure or how durable a lock is. And surprisingly, one of the major lock manufacturers that we use uses an ANSI grade 3. They conform with ANSI grade 3, which is a less durable lock, a less secure lock. So from that perspective, you can be confident that this door lock is well made. It's a little heavier, it's very solid, it's just done really well. So we are very excited about PowerG door lock. We've had crazy good feedback about this. Again, this was by far the star of the show at ISC, and we're excited to release this to you guys. This will come with our 4.4 software that will come later this summer. I would expect mid to late summer that will release. We can release the lock at that time. So very exciting. Anything else to add on PowerG lock, Nate?
Yeah, you know, as you're sitting here kind of going through some of the key features here, one of the things that got brought up a number of times when I was on the showroom floor was how easy would it be to change the batteries, you know, on this door lock. I think all of us are used to some of the competing door locks where you have to get out that little screwdriver, you've got a little screw, and sometimes those screws get dropped or whatever. You know, this door lock is all, you know, these batteries can all be swapped out without using any tools. So it's a pretty good system, you know, and you know, like Jason said, just to reiterate, the battery life expectancy on these is going to be a little bit better. I think you're going to find, you know, when you compare it to a comparable Z-Wave door lock, and it all is due to that technology, you know, the PowerG technology, where we've got that two-way feedback.
Yeah, that's awesome point. I actually forgot one of my favorite things about the door lock is how quiet it is. This is one of the quietest, most quiet door locks I've ever messed with. I'm a quickset guy. I've always liked quickset. My whole entire house is quickset. This thing is 100 times more quiet. I can't hear this thing run from my bedroom when I lock my doors at night, unlike some of my other locks, right? So one of my favorite things is it's just very solid. Like I said, it's a little heavier, but the thing just runs super quiet. It's one of the more quiet door locks I've ever messed with. So very exciting. You'll hear a lot more about this over the next months as we get a little closer to launch these. Now the good news is we don't stop with door locks, right? Again, where else could we use PowerG? Well, we want it everywhere. We want it anywhere, right? We want it in everything. So we're working on some other devices here that we're really excited about. A couple of the extra devices here that make the lineup are InWall Switches, kind of a Decora style switch. These back plates are screwless. They kind of clip into place, very easy to install, very clean looking. We'll have an IQ switch, and we'll have a dimmer. These are InWall. You can see the specs here with the switch. It's 300 watt, you know, on off basically. It uses PowerG. For the dimmer, it's 100 watt on off dim up and down, and of course uses PowerG. So these are a couple InWall switches we're working on, and then we have a InWall socket, a plug-in module, and an outdoor plug-in module, which actually has two different switches on it that can be independently controlled. So kind of getting in, you know, when it comes to automation, these are devices that are used very often. They're mostly all Z-Wave today, and I think converting some of these devices that we use quite often to PowerG is just going to make our lives easier. And as you guys know, with PowerG, it's kind of set it, forget it. Once you install these things, they typically work until they die or the batteries go bad or something like that, right? They're just very, very reliable. So we're very excited about this PowerG automation kind of track that we're on. As Nate mentioned, this isn't it. We don't want to end here. We want to do a lot more with PowerG. So we're really excited about this. Anything to Anything to add there, Nate?
I love that the switch, the dimmer, and even that socket, they're all Decora, which I think definitely gives it kind of that higher end feel. So very, very cool, very neat product. If you had a chance to walk around the showroom floor, come by the booth, we had a couple of these units just sitting out there, so you can, see them up close and personal. But when do you say the date or the ETA on these is? I guess maybe June, July timeframe. Am I right there?
I'm not sure on some of these switches. I don't know if Kevin is in the background answering questions, if he's got a better idea of timeline.
They're going to be just after the lock, so probably more of an August thing.
Yeah, fall sometime. Got it. Cool. Well, it doesn't end there. We talk about PowerG. We're excited about PowerG automation, but we have some other cool PowerG devices in the works that we're really excited about as well. One of these you guys have heard a lot about, and man, we are there finally. We have made it. We show this all over ISC. This is probably, second to the door lock in terms of popularity at ISC, and we are very excited about this product. Nate, tell us about IQ Remote PowerG.
Yeah, so this product might look a little familiar. We actually use the same plastics as the Gen 1 hub for IQ Remote PowerG. So the next generation of IQ Remote is here. This remote is going to operate both, or on one or the other, I should say. So it'll operate Wi-Fi. So if that's still the preferred method of connecting this remote, you can still use that Wi-Fi connection. It does give you a little more features and benefits if connected cameras are important to be able to view, that sort of thing. We do have a kind of a comparison chart on the next slide that will show you kind of the difference when connecting this device, Wi-Fi versus PowerG. But you can also, if you opt to not connect it Wi-Fi, this device will be supported PowerG. So we've done I think a pretty good job on being able to connect it either or, and the capability of upgrading it, the OTA upgrades, over-the-air upgrades, are there as well, both on connecting it PowerG and Wi-Fi. So you're going to have similar functionality that you would expect from an IQ remote. You have a secondary or another location that you need that security control, automation control. Again, like I mentioned earlier, you're going to be able to do OTA firmware updates, via PowerG or Wi-Fi. No matter how you have this thing connected, you've got the same capabilities that you would have from the panel, whether it's chimes, voices, beeps, and sirens. So great secondary keypad option here. You'll still be able to pair up to 3 of these Wi-Fi or up to 5 of these over PowerG. So the limits there haven't changed. They're the same limits that we've always had on IQ panel. So you could potentially have up to 8 of these in a single setup if you had 3 of them configured Wi-Fi and 5 configured over PowerG. So pretty exciting that we have that capability, and they're all going to look the same, have the same look and feel, throughout the whole project. So, one thing to mention there, the alarm.com, scenes, and when it comes to weather, if you don't have this thing paired Wi-Fi, you will miss out on those. And, I mentioned it earlier, the alarm.com cameras. So if that's important to you, you definitely want to make sure this thing is connected Wi-Fi. And those doorbell notifications. So anything else to add there, Jason, with
I'll just say, look, we joke that the PowerG keypad, which a lot of our dealers really like because it's PowerG, it's reliable, but it's a rubber button, it's LCD. It's not the most modern looking keypad out there. We joke that keypad and the Wi-Fi remote, which is a good looking keypad, but of course is dependent on Wi-Fi, they got together and had a baby, right? Just again, we're combining the best of both worlds: the PowerG, the communication, the reliability, with the feature set, the aesthetics, if you will, of the current Wi-Fi remote, kind of match them together, right? Again, combining the best of both worlds. So we are very excited about this keypad. This has been a highly requested product from all of our dealers. Once again, appreciate the feedback, and this keypad is because of your feedback. This is tied to 4.3.0 software, which is launching at the end of April, and we'll launch this keypad along with that. So you'll probably see some official press releases here pretty quickly, I think. But point is, we're a couple weeks away from launching this, and you guys will be able to get your hands on these very quickly. So very excited about this, very excited. As the current Wi-Fi keypad we know can be a little bit troublesome. So this will solve a lot of problems, we think. Once again, it doesn't end there. We have another keypad that we're excited to announce. This is the PowerG IQ keypad. I briefly overviewed at the very beginning of this webinar the IQ Panel 4 NS, right? The whole point of the no screen panel was to, again, reduce some cost and give you guys something that's a little bit more cost effective. Well, if you wanted to add a secondary keypad to the NS, it kind of didn't seem right that you'd have to now go and upgrade and pay for a 7-inch, secondary keypad, right? And kind of defeat the purpose of a low-cost system at that point. So we wanted to develop a low-cost secondary keypad, something that was very cost-effective, that was reliable, that worked well. So we're excited to announce IQ Keypad PowerG. This is a project we've been working on for a little while that we showed at ISC. This is compatible with all of our IQ panels, so IQ Panel 4, IQ Panel 4 Hub, IQ Panel 4 NS, of course IQ Pro, IQ Pro Plus. So this will work on any IQ panel. Of course, it's PowerG, so we get the long range, we get the frequency hopping, we get the adaptive power, we get all the benefits of PowerG, right? All the reliability that we get with PowerG. We can do up to 5 of these on a system. We get a 3-year battery life on these. Again, PowerG is really efficient at managing its power level and its battery life. So we get 3 years of battery on this keypad, up to 3 years using 4 AAA batteries. Of course, again, this was designed to be a low-cost keypad. It was designed to be the secondary for the low-cost no-screen keypad. Now that said, this is compatible across the board. So maybe you want a low-cost option on Pro or IQ4, all good, right? This will work across the board. This is a capacitive touchscreen keypad. So it's very, very clean. It feels high quality, works very well, works very quickly. We've got prox tag support will be an option in these. Single gang box compatible, and it's just modern looking, right? When you look at secondary, screenless keypads, there's not a whole lot of really quote unquote modern versions out there, right? Even some of the keypads we have that are meant to be low cost secondary keypads just aren't as attractive as maybe they could be. So very excited about this new modern glass capacitive secondary keypad that's coming. Again, this will work across all of our panels. So excited to just, again, we get the feedback. We know that the panels can be expensive. We know that we need to get some cheaper alternatives out there, some cheaper options out there for you guys. And this is something that will help with that we're excited about. Anything to add on this keypad, Nate?
No, I think you just about covered it all. I love the idea of maybe hiding your panel down in the equipment room, right? So I think you kind of already explained this rather well, but yeah, with NS, with the new no screen panel, whether it's Pro, you've got that secondary location, or maybe it's a primary location where all the customer really needs is a place to arm or disarm their panel. It's a great solution. So I love that it's battery powered. Yeah, if you need to throw something in as kind of an afterthought, here you go. Great option.
Yeah, thank you for that. It's perfect. It's awesome for those panels that, like you said, are stuck away in an IT closet or whatever, right? This is a good secondary for those. Now, the next product that we showed at IC that I'm excited about, I've been doing a lot of testing on this myself, is the PowerG Lockdown. Now, we've been talking about Lockdown. Lockdown is not a new product for us. You guys have likely seen Lockdown, material about Lockdown from us in the past. Everything we've talked about for Lockdown up until today, it's been a Z-Wave, right? The current Lockdown we have today, if you were to run up tomorrow and try to buy one, it's a Z-Wave. This is the PowerG version, right? We wanted to get PowerG into it. We knew range was going to be important for this type of application, and so we've launched a PowerG version of Lockdown. Now, not only do we get PowerG in this Lockdown, but we get a little bit of an updated form factor, right? We get it's a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. It's a little bit easier to mount than the old one. You get a nice cover that just makes it look a little cleaner. The actual locking mechanism of the lock, we changed the color of that to be red, so it's very clear, very obvious when it's locked. Anyways, we made some improvements to the actual hardware, to the actual design, to the way that it installs, some of the cable management that you have to do with this. We made some improvements there. So actually, not only do we get PowerG, but we get a whole long list of other improvements to Lockdown as well. So if you're not familiar, briefly, Lockdown is really meant to be a lockdown in sort of any sort of emergency situation where you might want to lock down a room or a partition or a certain area. Lockdown is designed for that. We see people using it to lock down forest service buildings out in the middle of nowhere. We see people using Lockdown to lock down cash rooms or money rooms in their business, right? More commonly, we see lockdowns being installed in churches and schools and stuff like that in the event of an active shooter, right? Where a teacher or somebody at the school could quickly lock down some rooms and prevent maybe a shooter from getting into restricted areas, right? So that's what Lockdown is. And again, we've had the Z-Wave version. We're excited to announce the PowerG version. Of course, now we get the range, we get all the benefits of PowerG. We get some, improvements in terms of how it's mounted, how it's installed, all that good stuff. We also have some additional devices that we're working on. So from an activation standpoint, you can manually activate the lock by pulling on that red tab there. You can manually unlock it the same way. It comes wired up with an egress button, so you can manually lock or lock remotely from alarm.com or lock from the panel, right? And use the egress button to get out. But we also can turn the egress button into a panic button. So maybe you just want to hit the button and lock it. Maybe you want to go that route. But we also have egress motion detector as well that we're working on that actually mounts just above the door handle, and so that when you actually touch the door handle, it automatically unlocks. So we're working on some cool accessories for it. But there's a lot of ways to run it. You can run it from the panel. You can run it locally, manually, right? You can run it from, of course, alarm.com. You could run it using a key fob, right? I just mentioned you could technically unlock it using a motion detector. So there's a lot of ways that you can build this for your situation, for the install that you're in, whether you want egress, whether you want a panic button, whatever, right? This supports all that. So awesome product, easy install, surprisingly. Very strong, very sturdy. As you can see here on the slide, 2,000 pounds of holding force, 300 foot-pounds of dynamic force. This thing is built to withstand, someone trying to bang in, kick a door in, whatever it be. So exciting. We got the PowerG version. This has been a long time in the works, and this is another product that we were proud to show at ISC. Anything to add on this one, Nate, before we move on?
No, I think you covered it. I guess I would add one thing. When you go to make your order for IQ Lockdown PowerG, these are on kind of a made-to-order basis, right? So, work with your local sales rep, TAM. We can kind of get the ball moving, depending on what the need is there. So,
yeah,
it is available, I guess.
Yeah, if you want more information, of course, on any of this stuff we're talking about, reach out to your local sales guy or your local technical account manager. Chat in if you don't have one right now, and let us know that you'd like to speak with somebody, and we'll get you in contact with somebody that can kind of dive into the weeds with you on any one of these if you're interested. Another product that we want to talk about that isn't new, but is still just a very exciting product that is starting to really gain some traction, and that's our IQ Photoelectric Beams. So for those of you that don't know, we partnered with Optex on these photoelectric beams. If you don't know Optex, they're probably easily the leader in outdoor photoelectric beams. They've been at it for a long time. They make a really high quality beam. We partnered with Optex on some wireless, battery only PowerG photo beams, which is really cool because if you've done photo beams in the past, likely you've had to do a whole lot of trenching. A lot of photo beams require wires. That's a whole lot of labor, a whole lot of digging. It's just hard to do. This makes it so simple. You can go out and install these things in 30 minutes. They learn into the panel wirelessly via PowerG, and just like a door sensor would, just like a motion sensor would. They're just very easy to set up. They're long range. They learn in just like a door sensor would. They're just easy, and it's an Optex beam, so it's a very high quality beam with all sorts of settings, environmental settings, sensitivity settings. There's just a lot of cool stuff. If you are doing photo beams, this is something you should consider. I think it saves a lot of time. Every time we show this at a show, someone walks up and says, I just trenched a yard, 2 weeks ago, I could have used these. So if you're doing photo beams, definitely look at these. These are awesome, and they're PowerG, and they're Optex beams. They're really high quality beams. So not a new product, but we still like to talk about it because it's new enough. And every time we show them, someone's like, I could have used those a week ago, I could have used those a month ago. So still working to get the word out on these. Definitely give these a consideration if you're in the photoelectric beam business. These are available to now. You can go out and buy these now. We sell them in a 200-foot version and a 350-foot version. So give these a look if you're doing photo beams. Nate, I'll hand it over to you now to talk about PowerG Plus.
Perfect. I love kind of where we've been and where we're going, and this is really the next generation of PowerG devices, right, for the security side. So we've got a whole new line of PowerG devices. We're calling these PowerG Plus. Along with some of the new updates to the plastics, you'll notice we've kind of changed the form factor here a little bit. And it's all based on your feedback. So we do have something here called Voice of the Customer. We take your feedback and we inject that back in through engineering and through our products teams, and really come up with a better look and feel, better product, better solution for your needs. And this is a testament to that. So thank you, for all of your feedback. So along with this refresh, PowerG devices, we've been able to do some pretty neat things with the software side of things as well. So one thing that we've not been able to do with PowerG up until this point is, these updates to each one of these devices. So we're going to be able to do OTA upgrades to any of these new PowerG Plus devices, and that gives us the ability to do some neat things. One of those main features here that we'll just kind of touch upon is being able to lock down sensors, by dealer. So, you deploy a PowerG Plus device, right from the panel, you'd be able to go and lock those sensors down. And, really what that does is it prevents any other dealer that may offer say they sell a Qualsys panel and they want to take over those sensors. If they're locked down to you, no other dealer could come in and take them over, just by swapping out the panel. So again, that's one of those things that we've heard from you, and it was important to you, and so we made it possible here with this product. In addition to that, with that two-way feedback, one of the resounding bits of feedback you've given us with PowerG devices is, hey, it would be nice if I knew what level my batteries were on each one of these projects. So we built that into PowerG Plus. So now you have this battery level reporting built right into these devices as well. So the idea there is you get a report, you can go and proactively swap out batteries, so your customer's not left in the dark with some of these security devices. So lots of good things here with PowerG Plus, and like everything that we've talked about PowerG related, it's like a fine wine around here. It just gets better with age, right? So we'll likely have more updates to talk about here in the future. We've already been talking internally, what else we can do with some of this technology. So if you guys have more feedback, let's hear it. Put it in the chat, like Jason said. Get with your TAM or your technical account managers, your sales reps. We love to hear it all. So anything I'm missing there without, I guess, going too far down into the weeds on each one of these units here?
Yeah, I think you pretty much nailed it, Nate. I'll say one more thing. I like to say that we are working to qualify these PowerG Plus sensors, right? What I mean by that is if you came from the Qualsys sensors, if you ever installed S-Line sensors, you noticed that, we had battery pull tabs on a lot of our sensors. Sticky tape was pre-applied. We had QR codes for easy learning into the panel on the boxes, right? So we're also working on that for PowerG Plus, right? We want to pre-apply sticky tape where it makes sense. We want to add QR codes on the boxes for easier learning. We want to add battery pull tabs to these so that you can more quickly, more easily learn these into the panel rather than tearing them all apart and getting into the enroll button, right? So all of those things individually are pretty insignificant, but together, this is stuff that can really save you real time on an install. You guys know, if you're on a job with 10 door window sensors and you have to unpackage and stick 10 sticky tapes on sensors, that's real minutes. That's real time that your technicians are standing there at the table putting tape on sensors, right? So we want to do things to help speed up the install. And I think together and combined, we can really save your installers some time on their install, make things a little quicker, make things a little easier, a little more efficient. So I like to say that we're working to qualify these sensors and bring some of those things that we did with S-Line to PowerG just to speed things up a little bit. So very excited about PowerG Plus. Love the new designs. A lot of these designs were approved by a lot of you guys. We did a lot of surveying and asked for feedback on certain things. So love the feedback, appreciate the feedback, and we're excited to be really dang close to launching some PowerG Plus devices.
And with that, I guess here's just a quick 10,000 foot view, as I like to call it, or executive view of our current portfolio. You see our whole line of products, our whole line of panels there at the top, beginning with a no screen, and as it goes down the line, it just gets richer, right? We've got a panel, a solution for pretty much every option out there, every configuration. We didn't talk about it much during today's webinar, but you notice the big panel there on the far right, IQ Pro Plus. It's everything that you know about Pro, but bigger, right? You're going to have more partitions, more users, more zones, more capabilities. So really neat panel. We're pretty excited about that app, as Jason mentioned earlier in today's webinar. I think you're going to start seeing us doing some neat things with it, with some of our current line of panel products. Really, with that, I didn't really have much else prepared for today's webinar. Was there anything, Jason, you wanted to mention here before we wrap things up? Maybe turn the time back over to Bo and.
Yeah, I'll say one more thing, and then yeah, we can hand it off to Bo. I like this slide because if you attended last week's webinar or ISC, you likely heard about our one platform message, right? That's really kind of our high level vision. That's where we're headed. That's what we're working on. We talked a lot about it at ISC. We talked a lot about it on last week's call. This slide kind of puts that all into perspective for me, right? You can see all the panels across the top and all the devices underneath those panels. Every one of these devices works with every one of these keypads. So it doesn't matter if you're doing a no screen panel in an 800 square foot warehouse or an 800 square foot apartment building, sorry. Any one of these devices will work and compare and be compatible with that panel. That same technician could turn around and put an IQ Pro Plus in a 100,000 square foot warehouse the next day. It's going to program the same. Alarm.com is going to work the same. All these devices are compatible with that panel. So the one platform theme is really cool. Coming from the dealer world of training technicians, hiring technicians, having to train technicians, the fact that we can go from very cheap entry-level panel all the way up to the biggest commercial panel, have it all programmed the same, have it all feel the same, flow the same, work with Alarm.com the same, have the same compatible devices is just huge. The learning curve is going to go, significantly smaller. If you're using these panels, the fact that everything is compatible across the board, it just simplifies things. So I'm really excited about where we're headed with this one platform, with all these panels, with all the same, just everything. So just kind of epitomizes our one platform message that everything's compatible, everything's similar, everything's commonality across the board, right? So we love that. So with that being said, we'll turn it back over to Bo and let him wrap us up here.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you guys so much. Very informative. We had a lot of activity in the questions. Kevin and Neil, I'm kind of glancing through, trying to see if there's some questions that might be beneficial for the group. Are there any off the top of your guys' head that we could cover real quick as we have a couple more minutes left?
I don't think there's anything. I mean, it's been very, very busy in chat. All good questions for sure. I think the one that kept coming up is, compatibility. I think Jason, you had mentioned across all IQ panels. So I think it's compatibility with some of these PowerG Plus and PowerG automation lock devices. The compatibility is on what we'll call the IQ4 series, right? So, even though it was on the slide, so no screen, 4 hub, 4 Pro, It will not work with IQ2, right? So we will not have PowerG automation on IQ2s, right? It's just purely a clarity. David, no, it's not coming to Neo. As much as I would love, it's something that we are going to try and get is on Neo, but it's going to require a really big lift to be able to bring PowerG locks and automation over to the Neo. But overall, yeah, I think people are super excited for PowerG automation. I don't think there's anything. A lot of questions about meshing repeaters. Yeah, it's something that we're bugging our engineering teams as well. To get those repeaters meshing with each other. Not on the roadmap right now. I mean, it is on the roadmap, I should say. Just no timeline to get it to do it. Kevin, did you see anything else that I missed? I know we've been busy typing.
No, yeah, tons of great questions here. Maybe the only one that I didn't hear us talk about that a couple people asked was how many of the PowerG locks will we support to start, and then maybe later in time, maybe you can address that, Neil.
Yeah, I mean, we will finalize the number. It'll be more than 20, which is the current Z-Wave limit. But overall automation devices, the safe number we'll say at this point, and it probably will increase, is just north of 100 PowerG automation devices will work. But that number will likely go up. Ultimately, it's going to be a bit of a combination between PowerG and environmental sensors and automation. Like there is an overall PowerG limit. But I think we're going to be in good shape. I don't think anybody's going to have any issues, with a limit on the number of PowerG automation devices available.
Great, Neil. That's the one question I was going to bring up. So that was awesome. Thank you so much for answering that. So, like Neil was saying, there's a lot of questions coming in. Him and Kevin have been answering. If we didn't get to a question, we'll make sure we follow up with you guys. Don't worry, we will track down somebody that knows the answer to your questions. Just want to reiterate, we will be doing a giveaway from this webinar. So watch for an email. If you're one of those 10 winners, you will receive an email from Will Hackett today, and we will get that process started on getting you your prizes. We do appreciate your time today. Jason, Nate, you guys did a phenomenal job, very informative. I learned a ton. Thank you guys for that presentation. And thank you all so very much for joining us, and watch that inbox for future webinar series that will be coming. And once again, we appreciate our partners. Anything you need, we're here. Please reach out. And everybody have a phenomenal rest of your day.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Will.
Have a good one. See you guys.